All right. So, for those that don't know me, I am Mr. Moody. I'm the athletic director here at Yorktown Middle School. I'm glad that you all could be here. I know these circumstances are a little different. Typically, we have in the past done these parent meetings in person, but obviously, because of the way things are, we're doing them on Zoom. Now, the benefit with that is that, we record them and we put them up online so you can go back and review them later. Also, people that are not here can see them. So, it's actually gone pretty smoothly. I do like doing these on Zoom. Actually, I can share things to my computer and it makes it a little easier. But yeah, so just so you know, this will be up on YouTube a little later, and I'm glad you all can be here. Uh, the first thing we're going to talk about is concussion protocol. Um, in the past, we have done what's called impact testing. Impact testing was a test that they would take a baseline. So they would take the test without a concussion, it would give them a score. And then if they ever received any head injuries or had any concussion like symptoms, we would then re-give them the test, and it would try to determine if they had a concussion based off of the differences between the tests. What we found is that we were sending those results to doctors and they just weren't using them. So they had their own things that they used and it seemed to work out well for them. And so we just kind of decided to scrap the impact testing. What we are doing instead is that I'm using Brooke Wagner. She's the corporation nurse as kind of my point person for any and all injuries, including concussions. So if a student athlete receives a head injury during a game, obviously they seems like they could potentially have a concussion. They'll be pulled from the game, and then obviously we'll require them to have a doctor's note to return again. So they'll go to Brooke Wagner probably the next day. She's not going to probably evaluate them or anything for a concussion. We're going to require them to go to a doctor and get some type of note to bring back, and she will clear all injuries through me. So she'll tell me when they can come back. It's really good for me because I'm obviously not a doctor. I can't make a lot of these decisions. So it's very helpful for her to just let me know when they are able to be cleared and come back. And then I let Coach Moat know and we'll go from there. It's worked really well with all sports, including football, which is a big concussion sport. So pretty happy with the way it's gone so far. And I'm sure it'll continue to go pretty smoothly. When it comes to grades, we expect them to be students as well as athletes. We have a policy where if a student has two F grades, when I check grades, which is at the quarter and at the midterm, they are immediately academically ineligible. What that means is that they can practice with the team, they can go to home games with the team, but they cannot play, and they are not allowed to travel with the team. So they can't go to any away games on the bus. We think that by having them with the teams and practicing, it gives them some type of goal to reach and encourages them to get those grades up. And it works pretty well for the most part. Now, the reason we do not let them fix their grades and we make them wait 2 weeks is because we want to make sure that they are keeping those grades up all the time. We don't want them to, think that they can fix that immediately. We also don't want to put that on our teachers. We don't want teachers to have to grade 20 missing assignments at a midterm because a student decided they wanted to actually worry about things and turn stuff in. And so we do check right at the 2 weeks after. For this team, we're looking at midterms. I will check around midterms, and that will determine the eligibility at that point. And that's kind of how we go about things. We definitely take it very seriously. I just did grade checks for other teams yesterday, and that's how we'll look at that. Playing time. So when it comes to playing time, I strictly defer to my coaches. In middle school, we are certainly still in the developmental level, but we are also setting out to win contests. Coach Moat is at every practice. She evaluates the girls at every time that they are doing anything. And so when it comes to playing time, she's the one that's going to make those decisions. What we want to happen in scenarios like this is if a student athlete has a problem with playing time, she thinks that maybe she should get more playing time, then that's a conversation that student athlete needs to have with Coach Moat. That's where we want that to start. It's very helpful to have the students advocate for themselves. They should be having those conversations, and then they will get the answers that they're looking for. If they need to work on their dribbling a little more as a point guard to get the ball up the court, that's something that Coach Moat's going to tell them. And so, does that mean that we don't want parents contacting Coach Moat or myself? Absolutely not. But we do want playing time, especially playing time conversations to start with the student athletes. It's just the best for them. They need to start getting to the point where they can speak up for themselves and advocate for themselves. So, conduct. We stress to our athletes that when they put on the uniforms, they are representing Yorktown. They should take pride in that and be exemplary competitors, as well as show great sportsmanship. The hope is that obviously the adults will model this as well. We are very hard on our athletes and make sure that most every coach makes sure that they are super, super great on the court. We don't tolerate players yelling at officials. We don't tolerate things like that up and down the board with every program. And so what we hope is that in the stands, we model that behavior as well. So like our officials they get paid, but they don't get paid a lot. And they are community members. They are involved a lot in what we do. And we want them to be respected. And I don't anticipate that being an issue, but I always like to throw that out there, make sure that we are just a great example all around. When it comes to COVID changes, we have had a lot of changes. I want you to know that a lot of the things that we do actually come directly from the Department of Education. They have expectations that they've given us, whether it be the mask or whether it be the sanitizer rules. They give those things to us and we are following them. So when we talk about, the girls, if they are not doing something strenuous, they should have masks on. That isn't necessarily from me. But it's something that we have to follow. They're telling us that if we don't do these things, then our programs are not going to exist. So we have to follow those things, and we hope that you encourage your student athlete to follow those things and make it easier on Coach Moat. Also, we have some things in the background that many of you probably won't even see. Things like bus seating charts, where we're making sure that if a student tests positive, we know where they sat on the bus. We know what groups they practiced in. So if maybe it will knock out a few players because of contact tracing, but not hopefully the whole team. That has happened with other teams this year, where because we did those things and had those in place, teams were still able to play some games, even with an athlete on the team testing positive. So it's we've been lucky in a few instances, and really it's because we had this plan in place and we followed it. So hopefully we can continue that. Fan attendance. So at this very moment right now, because we are in Orange County at 2.5, we are limited to 250 people at our events. And that includes players, officials, everything. We technically do have limited attendance. Looking back on all sixth grade girls games, we have not reached the 250 person limit. We don't really get close, but just to be safe, at the moment we are at 4 tickets per person. I haven't had anybody complain about that. It's pretty much covered anybody that's wanted to come to the game. But what will happen is as you enter, the ticket taker will be there. She'll have a roster, and she will mark off who you are there for. So she'll ask, who are you here to see? You'll give them the name. She'll mark it off, and we'll go forward from there, just to make sure somebody's not bringing in 8 people. Like I said, it's been pretty good. It's worked out pretty well. Along with that, we raised ticket prices this year. They're now $5 a ticket. That is really competitive with everybody in the area. There are a lot of schools in the area that are $6 now, which is a little awkward. But we have raised those, and we are not doing all sports passes this year because of, we're worried about seasons being canceled, and we don't want, people to buy all sports passes and not ever go to games. So concessions we will not have concessions at home events through the rest of the winter. It's tough to get workers for one, and it's just, we're just not going to do that. Seating is something that we encourage the social distancing in the stands. We do have spots marked, and we would like for you to sit with family units. So, I know people like to talk at games, but if we could just distance as much as we can, make sure we have masks on, things like that, it's going to probably help us out a lot in getting through the season. So we have that. And then finally, when it comes to schedules, I know Coach Moat has some schedules that she's gone through. I do want to stress that schedule is very, very fragile. It's something that I anticipate changing. All schedules for every team this year have changed. So on YorktownAthletics.com, if you go there, you can see a very updated schedule. The scheduler that I use syncs to that website when I make changes. So that will have a pretty up-to-date schedule for you. And then the other thing I really suggest that you do is follow me at YMS Athletics on Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I hate it, but we use it. So, and I put every update on Twitter. So even if you don't have a Twitter and I'm the only follow you have, it will probably help you it'll probably really help you if you just get on Twitter, YMS Athletics. Every update goes right on there, and you'll be up to date. So all that said, that's kind of my spiel. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Coach Moat, and then after she's done talking, we'll take any questions.
All right. Am I unmuted? Yeah. All right. So today, I gave the girls kind of my list of contact information and my list of team rules, which are not really a lot of rules because most of my rules can be kind of concise and put into one. Like Mr. Moody said, as a team and kind of as a school, we treat people with respect. So my number one rule is to treat coach, team, officials, and opponents with respect at all times. So I demand that. I like to have fun. And a lot of these girls know me from school last year. Several of them I taught. They even still call me Mrs. Moat instead of Coach Moat. They were kind of joking about it today. So they know that I like to have fun. But there's a time to have fun and there's time to be serious. And I don't tolerate not being respectful. So that's my number one rule. Also, I like to be on time. If you're not going to be on time or you're going to be absent, please let me know because I worry about you guys. If you're not there, I worry about why you're not there, especially when everybody's going to be in school and your parents think that you're at school. And I'm wondering, do your parents know that you're not at practice? So I told them today, I want to make sure that somebody lets me know that you're not going to be at practice. Send me a text or an email. Most of the girls have cell phones. So that's kind of part of the being respectful and not using a cell phone during practice. So we really went through these rules and I told them I wanted them to share them with you guys also, so you would have my contact information. And a lot of you had the Zoom information on there too. I think Mr. Moody kind of covered most everything else. I also will send probably a weekly update with practice information, probably games, bus leave times, anything else that I might want you guys to know. Have you guys been able to access that sheet now? Are you good? Okay. Another thing that I really like to use is the GroupMe app. Do you guys use that? I can't see. I can only see a couple people's faces because it's a lot of names, but that I think is a really good way to get information quickly to people. If we would have changes or want to talk to a lot of people at the same time. So we might set up a GroupMe for the team But other than that, I mean, I think we've covered pretty much anything. Can you think of anything else that I might need to cover, Mr. Moody?
No, that's about it. I did want to add that tonight I've been trying to create a Facebook to try to do some live streaming. It is not going well so far. Hoping that I can fix that. So we might have live streaming as well. But yeah, right now I tried to make it YMS Athletics and it's just my name. And yeah, and I can't change it for 7 days for some reason. So in 7 days, I'm hoping that I have a YMS Athletics account that will let me live stream because it's not old enough to live stream yet. So yeah, I'm hoping that's a thing. So, but yeah, other than that, I think we covered about everything. Does anybody have any questions for either of us? Nothing.
Kind
Hey,
of like,
no
wow.
questions? Okay.
It's easy.
Yeah, I know. Simple. So, like I said, this will be up on YouTube probably, I mean, Monday afternoon ish, hopefully before. But I'll put this up on YouTube. You'll be able to go back and look at this, or anybody that missed will be able to see it. So, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And like I said, if you ever have any questions or need anything, feel free to contact me, contact Coach Molt or Coach Moat, sorry. And we'll get back with you for sure. So thank you for coming and look forward to seeing you guys at the games.
Thanks, guys.